Welcome, AfterBuzzers. You are watching Queen Sugar Season 4, Episode 5, Face Speckled, where tonight we talk old flames, political heat, and blues heartbreak. Stay tuned for more.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Welcome back, AfterBuzzers. We are excited for an all-new Queen Sugar show. I'm your host, Shaka Smith, joined by my lovely co-host, Candi and Dontaira. Thankfully, we got you back, Candi. You're back. You're back in the building.
It feels good to be back.
Yeah, I know we were nervous last week, but we held it down. So thank you for returning, Dontaira.
I think you guys did an awesome job. I peeped the show, and I was like, y'all held it down.
Thank you. We tried. But we're almost to full strength here. So I think we got Thelmy back next week, right?
Thelmy is back next week.
Okay, so we're gonna have a full panel next week, but right now us three are gonna hold it down. Tonight we're gonna go over our news, our predictions, our Big Easy scene, where we give you a little flavor of Louisiana lifestyle, and then we're gonna go into our overall thoughts and talk about this episode. Wow, Cree Summer, amazing. But let's just tie in. Like, I love that. But yeah, I love this episode. I love getting the new life from Cree Summer, Octavia, and I think I just loved the emotional moments we had in this episode. Beautiful,
wow.
Right?
Oh my gosh. Speaking of emotional moments, my heart was so heavy. I don't think I cried so much on any of the other episodes. Like, I literally shed a tear. I had to literally contain myself from literally like breaking down, because there were so many moments that I felt personally that kind of related to me, and it just kind of broke my heart. So wow, writers, amazing job this episode. Amazing job.
Yeah.
Agreed. I feel like what I got from the episode is that there's strength in vulnerability, and we saw a lot of people, just shed their layers and just showcase their strength. When you talk about Blue in that moment with Ralph Angel, Aunt Vi in Hollywood, I mean, you name it. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it and talk about the old flames. We get a lot of old people coming out of the closet now, out of the woodwork.
It's getting heavy.
So we had Remy, we had Octavia, and we still have Vi dealing with the ghost, or not the ghost, Jimmy Dell, but his recent visit. So when we talk about Vi and Jimmy Dell, what do you guys think about what she's dealing with now? Dontaira, for you, how is she going to be able to move forward dealing with this sort of what it looks like it's internal kind of fear?
I'm not a doctor or anything, but does she have PTSD?
Yeah.
I feel like that's what she has, but I feel like she is handling it. The first step is communicating. And like I said, just being vulnerable and just opening up to Hollywood, who's trying to help her, who's trying to understand. So that's the first step. Also, I know she's angry with Nova, as she should be, but she can't hold on to that anger, because like I said last episode, with the lupus and everything, those are triggers for stress, and you can have a reaction and everything.
It's not healthy.
And exactly. So if you're trying to move forward, even in the Jimmy Dale situation, I feel like that's another way. She has to maybe not forgive Nova immediately, but at least talk to her.
Yeah.
To express herself.
And I'm so glad that you talked about forgiveness, because it's so easy to just be angry at somebody, and to say that our pain comes from a particular situation when there are emotional traumas that we still haven't dealt with. And let's face it, it's so interesting that we're seeing that this episode, because I literally just talked about that on my Instagram page the other day, that we have to heal from these emotional traumas. Yeah. And I thank God that she has Hollywood. When Hollywood made the statement, I can't protect you from what you're feeling inside, but all I can do is be right there with you. Sometimes that's what you need, the love of, the support of your family, the love of a loved one, that can just be there to say, hey, baby, I got you. I know this is hard, but we will get through this together. And I'm so glad that she has Hollywood to give her that support.
Yeah, and the strength to acknowledge that even though you were strong, you're finding a weakness where you thought there was none. Because what struck me, especially when the episode when she sees Jimmy Dell, that visceral reaction. Do you remember when she opened the door and there's Jimmy standing there to come in the house, and she lets him in because she didn't know how to process, like she hadn't had the tools to deal with him being there again.
Right.
Yeah, so I just thought it was great that she's dealing with that, because that moment really kind of worried me for Vi, that she let him in the house and she kind of seemed to be listening to him again for that moment.
Absolutely. And I think it's very fitting to say, with that being said, what you do not release, you cannot move forward.
Yeah.
Straight up. What you do not release, that is something that a lot of us do, especially the ones that are considered the strong friend or the matriarch of your family. What you do is you just put it on a shelf and you move forward and okay, well, if I stay busy or if I do this or if I do that, it's not real. Out of sight, out of mind. That's something that we have to stop doing because it will resurface, and it will resurface at a time that you least expect it.
You know, you actually brought up a really good point. You know, sometimes staying too busy. Vanya has busy her whole life taking care of, you know, Ralph Angel, the Bordelon siblings, and just carrying that family name and legacy. You know, just trying to find her footing and stepping into her own with the pies and, you know, Hollywood and everything. So she really hasn't had enough time, or maybe not that she hasn't had enough time, she just hasn't had the ability to move forward and just actually process it and analyze what actually happened.
Because she had to process it in a way that also allowed her to move the family forward so quickly and maybe compartmentalize certain things. But it's nice to see that she's willing to deal with it now and that Hollywood is there by her side. And of course we had some other old flames. Someone who seems to have gotten over it is Charley, because we saw Davis make a play, and I told you it was coming. And I think he's going to wear her down a little bit over time.
Shaka, no.
Is Shaka back with all of it? It's like,
this is my analysis my analysis based on what I see.
Listen, Shaka, they tore you up in the comments the last episode. I read all of them.
I said, ooh, extra chat.
I can't take up for you, Shaka. No.
I'm just saying that. And Charley almost gave him a little hope in that little scene for a second.
No,
and then
not even a little bit.
For a second, I thought she was, and then she was like, in that moment, it's past.
I didn't get that.
Okay, I think Shaka must have bumped his head because I don't think we were watching the same show.
Maybe.
We obviously could not have been watching the same show.
Maybe that's from a man's perspective. Because I feel like when a man loses something good and he knows he did, he's going to try as hard as
Come on, sis. Come on, sis.
Well, you know, when I think as a guy, you always have hope when she's going to let you back in the room. And so even though she didn't want to be out with you in public, she's still going to meet with you and strategize. And the fact that it felt like old times. You know how Vi said she's like that woman is still in her that dealt with Jimmy Dale? I think the woman that still loves Davis or went through the motions with Davis when she was in love with him is still there. So certain things feel familiar, and you might want that familiarity again.
No.
I mean, but that's the importance of stepping outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Come on. And also, it's the importance of healing. I think that Charley has healed through that situation, because let's face it, Charley has gone through so much, all 4 seasons. I think that it's really good to see that she's healed it, and also she's finally met a man that has shown her what real love is. At least that's what we've seen so far.
And do we think she's healed enough from Remy though? Is Remy going to cause any
no, Remy's
any
gone.
blips?
His character's gone.
You
Remy's
think so?
Remy's
I
done.
mean, that little 2-minute interaction. No, I think what was the purpose of him coming back?
Remy, because they had to close out that chapter of his character. Writers, great job. Remy is gone. Thank you. I am Team Romero all the way. I'm sorry,
we know
there
that.
is no
They're like, get all these
Remy.
roadblocks out of the way.
Shoot fly, don't bother us. We are done with you, Remy.
But I have a question in terms of Davis and everything that he's going through with the release of the book. Do y'all like how he put Micah in it? Do y'all think it was fair? I mean, was it cause for concern for her to be like, you know what? Okay, you're right. Let us meet. We can meet today at noon. Because I sort of wasn't feeling that.
No, I was feeling that because I do think they need to have a hands-on approach to this book. Because the book seems to be getting so much press that they really do need to sit together as a family and figure out what to do and what to say when. And, you know, is Davis's job going to be in jeopardy? I don't know if he's paying any support or for Micah. So they do need to sit down and figure out how to...
I guess the reason why I was a little skeptical, because granted, I do agree with you to that point, but then he tried to slide his way back on in there. So is it about Micah or is it about...
Can we be real? Davis has always used Micah as a crutch because he knows that that's a soft spot for Charley.
Well, it's his son.
No.
Use
because
him.
he knows that Charley will do anything for Micah. It's always been about Micah, so he knows, okay, let me slide in there. Let me mention Micah because he knows that's a soft subject.
It should always be about Micah, though. He's trying to get his family back together.
But he knows that all I got to do is mention Micah, and she'll give me the time.
Well, that's our child.
That's what I thought.
Then that's exactly what I got from him. I'm like, so is it really about...
You think he's slick?
But maybe
I'm not buying it. You think he's slick?
But maybe he needed to underscore the point that they need to tackle this. And obviously, if you're not realizing from what I'm saying, you need to realize it from Micah's perspective.
Davis, you ain't fooling nobody.
He's got a child and a career that he's got to somehow deal with in light of these new, the fresh, ness of what's happening. But
here's the thing. Davis is a retired NBA player who's well off. He couldn't hire a lawyer. He couldn't hire one of those PR experts. he don't have to go back.
He
to
want
Charlie.
that old thing back.
But no, but listen, Charlie knows Davis. She's attuned to how he's going to play in the media. She knows his
You
business.
can pay other people for that too.
Not the way
Like,
Charlie's going to do. I mean, there's no one you can pay that would be as good as Charlie because she knows him so well. She's good at what she does naturally, and then she also knows him very well.
I just don't like this interaction.
Well,
Okay.
we'll see. We'll see.
So why do you think he tried to kiss her? Why do you think he tried to kiss her?
Because he
knew
realizes
that
he's
I'm gonna
lost.
put her in a vulnerable place, and then I'm gonna ease on in there, like the Davis that I am.
What happened to
and
just
try
wanting?
to kiss her? That's what he did.
What happened to just wanting to get your family back? I really loved her. I realized I messed up. I
Excuse
made a
me,
mistake.
He should have thought about
And
that
that's
numerous
obvious.
times. He had a whole human being
I'm just saying.
outside of a
I'm
whole
just
thing
saying.
that he kept a secret, and then the hotel scandal. He wasn't thinking about his family, Charlie, or nobody but
Thank you,
himself.
sis.
I'm just saying-
Excuses.
Well, I just don't think it's a twisted plot for him to try to get his wife back.
You know, I appreciate
But,
your optimism for your men in this episode, but I'm not buying it.
I'm not either.
Well, then let's move on to Octavia. You don't like the guys, but what do you feel about Octavia? I mean, I really loved her challenging Nova, but I was a little bit surprised to realize they had this whole history. What did you think about the history?
Oh, listen, I just felt the sexual tension just coming through the TV screen. Honestly, the way that I saw it, as I thought that it was a ploy, if anything, to give her more media exposure, because the things that she was asking, she knew that it was pressing certain buttons within her, because let's face it, she's her old teacher, and Nova is her student.
Yeah.
So why not do the things that's going to get her ramped up, that's going to fire her up and answer the right questions that are going to be newsworthy?
Yeah.
Here's what I gathered from it. Nova doesn't know how to let go of the past. Y'all notice every time somebody comes up
she
from the
doesn't.
And
past,
she's quick.
she is so quick. I'm like, goodness, girl. But yeah, so was that her like entry point, Octavia's entry point to sort of get Nova back in her good graces?
Absolutely.
Oh, so that's how they play this little game?
That's a game. It's like a little game of cat and mouse.
Well, yeah, I mean, you definitely see. I think they both definitely spur each other intellectually. I think there's an intellectual like attraction there.
Sexual.
Yeah,
It's a lot of attraction there.
but she definitely seems like she's up to something, Octavia, and it looks like she's really jealous. I think of Nova's success, right?
I think it's more of a controlling thing to me. I think it's a little controlling. I do, because if you thought about what she said, I thought that you would have gone the what was the phrase she used? I thought that you would have gone the something route instead of writing a memoir.
Yeah.
She was very upset that Nova didn't follow into her shoes, and that's what I gathered from it. And I think it's more of a controlling thing. And even if you think about it, she's like, you know, maybe I can come to the next city with you, or I think she wants to be a part of what Nova has going on.
But I think she wants those accolades for herself, and I think
Yeah,
she
I
feels
can
like
see
she's
that.
missed out on that.
But she's an esteemed professor. Doesn't she have some alcohol? Well, she's not a New York Times bestseller.
Yeah,
Okay.
No,
okay.
no.
Never mind, answer all questions.
Remember, she's asking questions at Nova's book tour. So I actually had a professor years ago that said if you are into teaching, you have to love teaching, because what happens is you do see these students that come through, and your students stay the same age in terms of if you're teaching the same level, they stay the same age, and then you go on to see them do other things. So you have to actually not be jealous of the success that they're having in the future, but actually love teaching that you contributed to that success.
Right. And then not to mention, how would you feel if your protege wrote only one line? And this is who you consider to be your protege. Nova's, I've never heard anything about Octavia before this point. So how would you feel if your protege, this person that you consider to be your pride and joy, that you poured so much into, only mentioned one line about you in the book? That says so much that maybe Nova didn't think as highly of her as she thought of Nova.
I mean, the editors could have edited it out.
Well, to me, I think if it's a legitimate protege, you don't have a problem with that, because why are you pouring into that person? For a benefit for yourself or for the benefit of that person? But when now you have a sexual ego, and like you have a sexual relationship with that person, then there's an ego involved. Now it's your ego that needs to be fed by the one line or the paragraph or the chapters. But if it's a legitimate protege that I think you're pouring into, you're not concerned about the accolades later.
Or maybe it's about Nova and her selfishness, because that's the one consistent thing we've seen is how selfish she is. She takes what she wants from that person and then she moves right along. She's done that with all of her lovers. She's done that with her family. What's so different about this relationship?
To me, it was more of an ego-driven thing, where she didn't say the way you characterized me was wrong, or that you told lies on me, or you revealed a too deep of a truth.
Right.
She just basically said, I wanted my name out more. Like, why wasn't more written about me? I feel like I didn't mean enough to you in your life. So that's your ego. That's not a criticism of this book.
Of being a mentor, of being, that person.
I guess
Exactly,
we'll find
yeah.
out. We'll find out.
Because she's not talking. Because remember, a lot of it was like, are you representing everyday Black life? And it doesn't seem to me in that scene that she was concerned about that representation. She was concerned about whether or not her name got clout.
Clout chasing.
Yeah. So, and the way they brought her in, she seems so strong and forceful. So I think she's gonna really,
Shake things up. I agree.
I hope so. I was actually hoping, and this is my last thing I'm gonna say about Octavia.
Yeah.
I was actually hoping that she would have checked her about what she mentioned about her family.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was the route that Octavia was gonna go when she was talking about the memoir. I was hoping. I was like, please say something. Please check her, because she need to be checked real good.
But I think in some ways it was like checking her, because here you have revealed all these details and secrets of your family, but you want to make a point on Black life, but you've included no data, no research. So really, you just released a tell-all. Like she said, she called it a tell-all.
It's
a tell-all.
She's
it's not an academic
So
book.
with that, if you're speaking to your own family experiences, do you need research and data to back it up?
If you're trying to extrapolate it and talk about everyday Black life, the everyday Black person, and what they're going through, you can't just say I'm indicative of that when you have no idea about the millions of other Black people and have no data to say here's why it makes sense to.
But here's
use
the
this.
thing: what is the everyday Black person? Because I feel like the Black experience is so rich. There's no linear experience for the everyday Black person.
Yeah.
Each of us has had our own challenges and struggles. So it's not a linear experience. So what does that really mean, the everyday Black person?
She's right. And the beauty of being Black is we have so many different stories. We have so much diversity within our culture.
Yeah.
So I do have to agree on that point.
I think there are experiences unique to Black people that we experience every day, regardless of your socioeconomic status. And then I think there are things that are indicative of your socioeconomic status where there are a lot of minorities that are in that swath. So if Nova wasn't in that swath and lived that life, I don't know. And we're talking about Louisiana versus the rest of the nation. I didn't know anything about farm life and farmland until I was reading that. Until I watched this show. So did you guys have that feeling that maybe you weren't experiencing what she would be experiencing as an everyday Black American?
I think that demographically we experience different things depending on where we are. Geographically, like what I experienced going through in the South is completely different from what someone from New York might experience,
Midwest,
or
Ohio.
the Midwest.
Yeah.
And I do think that is different. But I will say that I think a Black man is still a Black man that's targeted by a white man, no matter where he is. So I'll say that.
Yeah, I just want to see the data that shows to me that. Because my experience isn't Nova's experience. So when I'm watching, or if I were to be reading this book and hearing about the farm and her dad and how the farm passed down, a lot of that wouldn't be applicable to me. There would be some themes in there that I connected with. But if you're going to say this is part of the Black experience, and it looks completely different from a kid from Miami or wherever else it is, then you need to have the data to say, here's why I believe that what I'm experiencing here in Louisiana is something you're experiencing there in Miami.
Because it's generalizing.
Yeah.
It is generalizing. And someone that's not Black, especially if this is their first, I guess, example of a Black experience, that's what they're going to probably try and tie it to.
Yeah, now if you tell me there's data that shows 80% people are disproportionately arrested in Louisiana, and I know the same things existing in Miami, and you're showing the data. So even though we're being raised in different ways, we're showing that drug arrests are higher amongst minorities, incarceration arrests are higher.
Similarities.
Yeah.
And that is why this is a memoir, and it's still Nova's opinion.
But she's presenting it more as if it's an everyday Black tome.
I was going to say, yes.
She's presenting it not as a.
I
She's
agree.
saying it's to help the Black family.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And we don't agree with it anyway.
Yeah.
I don't support the book. I'm hoping that more people in the next episode will stand up and say something against the book. But I mean, again, Nova, I'll be honest, she presented a pretty good argument at the press.
Oh, I mean, she
did.
Yeah,
She did.
I will say that. Yeah.
She did her thing, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
But also, can we talk about Octavia? Back it back up.
Yeah.
So she just has a thing for her students. Like, I mean,
she is nasty.
do y'all like how Nova shut down her, the little student who tried to question her?
No matter what, I just can't be Team Nova right now. No matter how much she shut that girl
but
down.
intellectually, just challenge her. I said, I just had to,
And even when Nova is on that stage and she's being questioned so hard, she does acquit herself well. So that's the part about Nova that you're always going to love and be attracted to, and why Octavia's attracted to that. She's attracted to that intellectual beast, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I love how she carries herself in front of the audience. Now, when she carries herself with her family, I don't like that.
And what she's actually done is not.
I'm sorry, but to me, she has no integrity. She has no loyalty, and I just cannot support that.
Well,
I can't.
No, she doesn't have any loyalty to her. No, never mind.
She has no loyalty, no integrity. Like to me, your cause means nothing because you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Yeah. You think you're doing it for the right reasons, but look at what it has done to her family. Yeah. Like my heart broke, and I don't want to jump around with this topic, but I'm just gonna say blue. Yeah. Like my heart broke because I was not like for his friend to say that to him on that playground. Yeah. Well, it should not have happened like that.
And that's all part and parcel.
She robbed that. She robbed so many things from her family when she put all this information in that book and she released it publicly. So many things were robbed from them. Yeah. And that's what I don't agree with.
And if people are watching and agree with you or don't agree, they should probably leave a comment or two. Why don't you tell them how to tune into AfterBuzz?
Yes, you guys, please tune in to AfterBuzz TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You know, it's such a pleasure to be a part of such a fantastic digital network where we generate over 1 billion views a year. And I get to sit down and chat with so many amazing people like Shaka and Dontaira, and we get to share our views. But also, we get to hear from so many amazing viewers just like you. So be sure to leave a comment, to subscribe to our YouTube channel, listen to us on iTunes, and continue to support what we love.
Yes, give us all the stars. Give us all the stars. Well, we got to move on to the political heat. Politics really, obviously, came front and center in this episode. It's always in Queen Sugar world. It's always bubbling underneath the surface. But yeah, today it came front and center. We got the big ICE raid. Of this, and it's the first time we saw the clinic, and I wish they'd given us more time and more stories, and got to see the clinic really operate and run. But we immediately got the ICE raid, and it brings up so many issues that we're dealing with today. How did you guys? I guess how did you respond? Viscerally to it, because you really saw the family getting torn apart, and then what do you think now? How does Charley play this?
Honestly, to your point, I love the fact that they showcased what is happening now in today's society. It's not just a television show at this point. Yeah. They're actually really showcasing you what is going on, throughout the country. Not to mention, did y'all hear when the police officer, when the ICE officer said to Charley, well, it's allowed during this administration, pretty much saying like these raids are allowed during this administration. I'm like, yes, writers, preach. Yeah.
Well, I mean, because that's what constrains these agencies is oversight. And if there's no oversight and there's actually a blank check to do whatever you want, then of course they won't be.
Right. This, I'll be honest, and I'm going to reveal just a little bit. This part of the show really broke my heart the most. That's when I could not hold back my tears, because as someone that grew up in foster care and that knows what it feels like to be torn away from their family, my heart literally just broke, because I know what that feels like. It's something that needs to be addressed, and it's not right. It's a human issue, and I'm just sick and tired of seeing what these people, they are humans first, and they are people, what they're going through in these concentration camps, because that's what they are. They're not getting medical attention, and I love and I respect and appreciate the fact that Ava DuVernay is putting these messages, because she's opening up people's eyes in ways that are creating these conversations that tugs at our heartstrings, and that's making us feel like, you know what, damn it, we need to do something about it.
Because we're seeing the real.
After I saw it, I was like, no, I need to do more. I need to do more. I need to get more educated. I need to talk to people. We need to create more conversations, because we are still all human beings at the end of the day. Screw the papers. Screw ICE. Screw Trump. Screw all of that. We are human beings, and we deserve to be treated as so.
And we don't often see it. We get the tweets and we know it's happening. Sometimes we see pictures, but to watch it unfold, and even though it's a show, you see it and you felt it. Right. And I think it's so important that we're telling these stories narratively on television and in film.
And I loved how how the ICE agent said these are illegal aliens, and she's aliens. These are human beings.
Thank you.
Yes.
And that's how it begins, because you start to dehumanize people by calling them different names, and no longer you're not thinking about the human element when you give them this other title. So I think it's so important the writers identified that.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it. Again, standing ovation to the writers. Thank you. Standing ovation.
And now we have Charley, and now she's ready to run for office. And
Come on.
I'm sure this was probably an extra push that made her go, I should be involved some more. What do you guys think about her running against a potential love interest in Jacob Boudreaux?
Shaka now. I'm sick of
Wait
you.
a minute. No. You agree with me. Dontaira agreed with me that there was some fire with
The
Jacob.
phone's coming off.
Do y'all, listen, we about to get rid of our lead host.
No, I did agree that there is some kind of chemistry there.
Yeah.
But I don't want them to move forward.
I really think her thing this season is going to be which guy she's going to pick.
No, they definitely have some chemistry. You can't deny when they get together, just like Nova and Octavia challenge each other intellectually. Jacob and Charley, they challenge themselves too with this whole everything that they're going.
Okay,
cat and mouse
sis.
game.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm actually round of applause to Charley, but I'm a little scared. I just don't know what's gonna happen. I feel like she's stepping into new territory. I mean, she always handles, just handles the shit just very well.
Yeah.
But my heart just, every time Charley steps into, some new kind of mess or try to figure something out, my heart just sort of...
Yeah, you know what? But we cannot forget, again, who Charley is.
Yeah.
And Charley, if anything, I think that her heart beats off of that type of adrenaline. And we've seen her every single season take everything that's been thrown at her, eat it up and spit it right back out. So I have no doubt that she's going to do the same thing. I think that more than anything, this is where we're going to really see Romero step it up.
Romero.
I'm hoping.
We'll see. But we'll do that with the predictions.
Because she's going to need that support. She can't be out there by herself. She can't be alone. She needs the support of Romero. She needs the support of her family. Because I think what we've seen, a potential, next episode is, I think, a gunshot or something went through a window. So she got to be strapped and she got to be ready. But what she will not do, she's not going to give up. She's not going to let them get to her.
I just hope that her running in this political landscape doesn't take away from... Micah needs some attention right now.
Yeah.
And some guidance. So I just hope it doesn't take away from that aspect in that relationship.
But he also has a father. He still has a father.
That is being sort of kept at bay. But I would say I was struck when I remember hearing Michael was 17 years old, because I forgot how old he was in the show. And because he's really grown up so much in terms of what he's been through, but you forget now. I think this is, well, we'll go in predictions later, but this is not a good beginning for Micah at 17. It just seems like the storm is brewing.
Yeah.
But we got to talk about Blue's heartbreak. So heartbreaking. And of course, it's a kid on the playground that kind of tells him this. What did you, I was going to say, what do you think of the scene? The scene was great. What do you think about how Blue deals with this now in this moment? Dontaira, and how did Ralph Angel respond to him?
Oh my gosh, how did Ralph Angel respond?
Yeah.
Was amazing. But it broke my heart when Blue said, "I thought you were part of me, Pops." And then Ralph Angel responded, "I choose you."
Yeah. That whole
exchange and interaction, it doesn't get any better than that. And we had already predicted this, that somebody on the playground was probably going to let Blue know. Yeah. We predicted that from the first episode.
As it happens, as it goes. Yeah.
Kids are cruel.
Yeah.
But the little boy, his interaction, I felt like he wasn't trying to be cruel.
Oh,
he was just, well, my mom said just going on what he heard. But, when I was a child, I remember I was in 4th grade, and I had a friend whose grandmother was raising her. She thought it was her mom the whole time.
Wow.
And it was another friend's mother who told her, that's not your mom. And I remember I went back and told my mom, guess what happened between my group of friends? And I remember my mom's face just was like, smile upside down, and she was heartbroken.
Because she knew the ramifications as kids.
She was heartbroken, and she was like, that was not her place to say that to that child. So I just remember that feeling like, oh, okay, so it's not... Okay, so I understood, and I empathized with it. But the way they handled it was amazing.
Yeah, beautifully written. Yes. I have to agree, beautifully written. I will say in that moment, my thoughts were, I'm glad that it happened this way. Meaning, like, I'm glad that he had both his mom and his dad, and they were there to shower him with love. And it's unfortunate how the truth came out, but imagine it happening at a different point in his life. You know, I appreciated the way that they told him the truth.
Well, I mean, he's probably a few years away from going, you look a lot different than me, though. They do look real different.
Yeah, and
so
he's smart.
He would have figured it out in a year or two.
He's maturing quickly. He's maturing quickly.
I'd have been like, hold up.
I mean, he just could look like his mama.
No,
Maybe he just
no.
look like his mama.
But I do want to mention something because I did. I previously interviewed Kofi a while ago, and I asked him what was the most challenging aspect of bringing Ralph Angel to life, and his response was that, you know, he uses Ralph Angel's character as a source of therapy. You grow from challenges, and Ralph Angel has helped me grow in many ways by helping to acknowledge certain things, not only in my very own life, but also in the world in general. And I feel like that scene spoke to what he was saying in terms of not just realizing stuff in his world, but in the, you know, in life in general.
Yeah.
You know, how many people do you know who have father figures who have stepped up to the plate and who aren't their biological father?
Yeah.
But that's who they consider their father. So that was just a perfect example.
The amount of growth that you must actually have as a person to play that and be that on screen, of course, it's going to shift you a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
and also
amazing
another
stuff.
great conversation to have in our Black community. You know, we have so many conversations surrounding around parents, especially fathers being
missing
present
father,
or absent from the home. So that was a really great conversation, or stepfathers, or whatever the case might be. But the father, the Black father, is such a great conversation to have.
Yeah, and this Black father choosing to be a father in a situation where he really shouldn't even be the father.
Exactly.
Black fatherhood at its finest.
Yeah, amen.
Thank you.
Working on it.
Thank you, writers.
Well, we got some news. Do we have some news?
We do have some news.
Yeah, she's back with the news.
We're back with the news. And you know, I'm going to keep it short and sweet today. I was stalking our writers, Mike Flynn, Instagram page, as well as Don and a few of our other actors from Queen Sugar. And the great news is that they've officially wrapped season 4 in Louisiana, so let's congrats to them. They had a huge celebration yesterday. So yeah, congrats on an amazing season so far. I can't wait to see what else they filmed.
Oh yeah.
Wow. And then I kind of slid into our writer's DM, and let's go to that message really quick, and hopefully we'll bring them on later in the season.
Yeah, now that they're wrapped, hopefully we'll get some of the actors on as well.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. Let's see, where is his message? Shifting through. Okay, so he wanted to tell all of you that they feel very accomplished, and that you know, they can't wait to come onto the show. So they're really excited about what they have to show us, and he can't wait to sit and talk to you guys.
Yeah, we got to quiz him on what he's been writing for this season and what's coming for season 5, because we all want to know.
Right. Make sure you bring some of your friends with you when you come in, you know, on the show, Mike.
Right. And of course, we have our big easy scene segment, a little slice of Louisiana life.
Yes. So we're not going to talk about New Orleans particularly. We're going to talk about the state of Louisiana as a whole. So we're going to talk about the Louisiana Purchase, a little history lesson.
Okay.
So in 1803, the Louisiana Purchase occurred, and it was acquired from France with the purchase price of $15 million. So this is in 1803.
Oh.
So that made it the largest land deal, one of the largest land deals ever. So today, that $15 million would be approximately $1.2 trillion if that was...
That was an investment. That was a good one.
Yes.
Solid.
Way outside of my tax bracket, but, you know, these things just keep on up. But with that, in addition to the large price tag, the deal also doubled the size of the United States. So this was a history lesson for me, because I thought the Louisiana Purchase was solely about Louisiana.
Yeah.
Not at all. It was a huge territorial gain in American history. It was not just about the state of Louisiana. It consisted of land from the Mississippi River to the Rocky Mountains, the Gulf of Mexico, and to Canada. Now, let's break this down, because I'm sure y'all probably wondering, well, how did it double in size? So the 15 U.S. states and 2 Canadian provinces that it acquired was Arkansas, Colorado, Iowa, Kansas, Minnesota, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, New Mexico, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Texas, Wyoming, and of course Louisiana. So that is what made up the Louisiana Purchase.
Wow.
Making it one of the largest land deals in American history.
Wow.
Thank you for
And I need a glass of water after that one.
You guys get a little Queen Sugar, a little history too. And so we got to go into our predictions as we wind down.
AfterBuzz TV prediction.
Crazy stuff. What do you got for us, Dontaira?
All right, Davis is doing the absolute most. I need Davis to go somewhere. However, I feel like he's still trying to shoot his shot throughout the whole season. And I don't feel like he's going to get that job. Something it's gonna fall through. I just don't see it happening for him.
I agree. I'm with you 100%. It's not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
200 protesters, not gonna happen.
Exactly.
I'm gonna shed a little light, bring a little light, a little love to our predictions. Ralph Angel and Deja, such a breath of fresh air. We just see them falling more and more in love.
First kiss.
That was beautiful. Such a beautiful moment.
First handhold.
First handhold. Also, Romero is a breath of fresh air. Oh my God, hater. I'm wishing those two the best of luck with their relationship, and I'm hoping that, like I said before, Romero can be that support that she needs. So I'm gonna keep it light this time.
What do I got? I think Charley, I'm excited for her. I think she's going to become a woman of the people. I think she'll kind of rally people together. She's tried in the past, but she doesn't always feel like she's connecting. But I feel like her heart and her soul's into it now, and she's kind of part of the community. So I'm looking forward to see her kind of embrace that more. And I think we're going to get some really evil doings, machinations from Octavia. So I'm excited to see what she's got. I think she's going to try to hurt Nova. I don't think she's just trying to come a little shy. I think she's going to really try to push Nova aside or do something to hurt Nova and really elevate herself.
Now, when you say hurt, do you mean like physically assault or you mean like emotionally?
No. I mean
What are you talking about? I wouldn't be against that, okay?
No,
Damn Nova.
I mean more scheme to diminish Nova's star.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
and somehow do so in a way that will help elevate her own.
Yeah, that last look.
Yeah, just like
behind her back.
Yeah, it's like you're not here for anything good. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anybody would be mad at that. I'm just joking.
So that's my predictions. But yeah, this is a fun little episode to talk about.
Yeah, it was. My heart was heavy.
Yeah.
My heart was very heavy.
Yeah, but I'm glad that the issues are being tackled and that we're gonna have a lot more for the rest of the season.
All right.
Well, guys, thank you for joining us. Again, my name is Shaka Smith. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Shaka Strong.
Hey guys, it's Miss Candi Marie. Always a pleasure to be here. You can find me on Instagram at Miss Candi Marie and on Twitter at Sweet Kendora TV.
And I'm Dontaira Terrell, and you can find me on all social media at Dontaira Terrell.
See you guys next week.
Bye guys.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.